What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for All Out 2022. And man, this was a phenomenal show. First off, we obviously got to answer the big question. Who, in my opinion, won the weekend for wrestling? Between WWE with Clash of the Castle and Worlds Collide and AEW with All Out. First off, um, I mentioned this. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this on Twitter, and well, you guys saw. If you guys saw on Twitter, I was live tweeting out the entire day, watching all three shows. Clash of the Castle, phenomenal show, man. It was absolutely fantastic, amazing show. Without doubt, probably the second, if not the third, best pay-per-view on the card. My top three shows of the year so far would be WrestleMania, WrestleMania 38, Clash of the Castle, and probably then SummerSlam. It's kind of like a toss-up between SummerSlam and Clash of the Castle, but that's my top. So yeah, so Clash of the Castle was phenomenal. The main event was amazing, great show around. Worlds Collide was also a fantastic show in its own right. Ricochet and Carmelo Hayes still the show, man. That was a phenomenal show as well. But All Out, bro, yo, listen. First, I will say this much: 15 matches is too many goddamn matches. Cut it down. There should be 10 matches max. Even that is probably slightly pushing it, bro. 10 matches should be the absolute cutoff maximum point. That's where you should not go past 10 matches. But regardless of that, man, this show was absolutely fucking incredible, man. MJF is back, finally. CM Punk is once again champion. And yeah, man, without further ado, let's just jump right into the actual show, man. So the first match we had started off was the concealed ladder match with Ray Phoenix and Wheeler Yuta to start the match. This was a fantastic match. They went after a while, and of course, other ones. We had Andrade come in there, where Andrade and I think the other guys, part of his faction, took a ladder that was like right underneath where the actual poker chip is. Then he bridged a ladder between one of the rungs of the ladder and the ropes. He just kind of had it sitting there, and then later on as the match progresses, Andrade did this. Andrade basically took his opponent and basically threw him or power bombed him through the ladder that was bridged up on the apron, which on the other ladder on the ropes. Which I swear to God, he did something similar to Finn Balor at one of the Money in the Banks he was in. It was a very similar move. I don't know if it was the exact same move, but it was a very similar move. That looked awesome, man. Eventually, Penta made his entrance, which the Penta starts off strong, where he instantly hits a fucking Mexican destroyer as soon as he gets into the match, which was great. But eventually, I'm jumping ahead of you. One other thing that was interesting is when Cesaro came in there. I don't know what exactly Cesaro was going for here, but the ladder that was inside the other ladder that was bridged with the rope was still there. And while Andrade is on the ladder, Cesaro legit picks it up and basically has the ladder balancing on one of the rungs on the one side of it that is just where the ladder was, and of course the ladder that was bridged with the other ladder, basically moving it, bending it, and lifting it, so it starts to form an X, and then eventually just kind of throws him over the top rope. It was an insane spot, man. Really shows off just how strong Cesaro is, man. And I don't know exactly if that was exactly what he was going for, man, but it was quite the spot. But anyway, as I was saying, back with Penta. So he opens. So as soon as he gets in the match, it's a Mexican destroyer. Then on the outside, with another ladder that's bridged between the ring and I think the barricade, he then hits a Mexican destroyer on Andrade. While at the same time, Ray Phoenix does a frog splash off the top rope onto a table on the outside, man. It was crazy how quick they were able to sync it up, man. Eventually, the match continues on, and eventually, all these guys hooded in black, in black clothes, all come in there, start attacking everyone, and one of them goes and grabs a chip. It's revealed to be Malcolm Bivens. So we're like, hey, yo, what the fuck's going on? Who are these people? And then we find out who the Joker was, who was a surprise guest. And we don't know who he is. It's just this dude comes out in a devil mask. And I'm like, okay. And he hands him the poker chip and they leave. I'm like, okay. Well, actually, before they leave, he goes to tease, take his mask up. He's like, nah, not yet. So then he leaves. And then everyone was kind of like, "Oh, who is this?" Most people were thinking that this was MJF. I was definitely one of them that suspected that this was MJF. But Josh, we were right, as we saw at the end of the show, man. But yeah, great match. Love the ending. Obviously, for where it led into at the end of the show. But this was a fantastic match, man. A lot of great spots for this one. Next up, we had the trios titles. Victor ended the tournament to crown the first of the trios champions between the Bucks and Kenny, and of course the Dark Order. This match was fucking phenomenal. Funny, we're talking about this match and considering the media scrum, which might as well talk about it now because this match features everybody that Punk went off about. Okay, let me just quickly talk about this because I don't want this to take up much of the review. During the media scrum, in case you guys don't know, but by the time this review is up, I'm sure all of you have, but in case you still have, in case you're not on Twitter or whatever, during the media scrum, Punk goes off. Punk goes off about Colt Cabana, which you guys know there's some beef between them because of lawsuits and other shit. Then he goes off about the EVPs, obviously talk about Kenny and the Bucks, maybe Cody as well, but doubtful because he's now with the WWE. Then obviously, of course, and then there's also Hangman. Apparently, someone in the media scrum asked him about Colt Cabana. I don't know why. He has no relevance to the show. Why you would ask that, and not something about MJF. Whatever the case may be, Punk goes off while he's eating muffins. Which is probably the funniest part of the scrum, was while Punk is going off, bleeding, has a towel over here, tired, his voice is fucking shot, he sounds like his fucking auto-tune. My man's just chilling, vibing, eating muffins, and shouts out the place he got him from. And also says, "Hey, yo, Adam Cole, he's awesome." Shouts out Adam Cole, which is also pretty cool. What do we get in that match, though? Well, depending on what happened in the scrum, we might not get that match, but me personally, I think this is all a work. JD mentions review, at least the start of it, that this might be tying into fucking Malcolm Bivens faction with MJF and Punk joining him, going up against Tony Khan and the Elite, some WCW versus NWO type show. Maybe this is where this is all heading. I'm hoping it's a work, because if it's not, yikes. Listen, you guys know I love Punk. He's one of my favorite all-time, but yeah. You can't be doing this, my guy. Come on. I love you, but come on. You can't be doing this, Punk. And also, why did Cody cut his mic? If this is legit, bro. Why did he just sit there oh, we're fucked. Just... I don't know, bro. I don't know what's been going on in all of the wrestling these days. Shit's crazy. Fucking Aleister Black wants out too. There's threatening of walkouts from Kenny and the Bucks because of this. It's madness. There was apparently a fight that broke out, possibly with Punk. It's madness. This is madness. It's an insane weekend, man. But anyway, that's my talk on the media scrum. I didn't want to take up much of the review, but I wanted to talk about it just because of how fucking huge it was. Anyway, to back onto the match itself. The match itself was fantastic, bro. Loved it. First came out the Dark Order, then the Bucks came out, and then of course Kenny, which also apparently the Bucks now have a signature shoe. That's going to be a thing with Champ Sports, so that's cool. Don't know if I would buy myself a pair, but that's there. That's cool. That's cool. The Bucks are doing that, man. Both Bucks out here making moves, man. Which I've noticed that the Bucks seem to be turning slowly but surely back into their babyface counterparts, because while they still kind of have some of the earrings and all the other stuff they had when they were the heel counterparts, you can see them bringing back the brighter colors and the headbands, starting to go back to how they were in baby. I wouldn't be surprised to see something that's slow but gradual. The Bucks slowly start to shed their heel gimmicks and go back to when they were baby faces, or early when the AEW first started. Wouldn't be surprised that's what's going on, or maybe they're just going to stick with this look for the rest of the time. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. The match starts off. You started off with Adam and Matt. Eventually, of course, Kenny gets in there. The crowd is going crazy. But Kenny's entrance was absolutely insane. He was going up and he's like fucking Kevin Nash's favorite wrestler. I don't know what that was about. Is Kenny Omega beefing with Kevin Nash now on Twitter? I don't know what that was about. He says possibly Will Ospreay as well. Says Will Ospreay took his ball and while Kenny is still here. He is. These fucking intros what Kenny's been doing these last couple weeks, especially when he went off on Will Ospreay last week, bro, or on Dynamite, I should say, a couple days ago, bro. It's been madness, bro. Wrestling is absolutely insane this weekend, bro. This entire week has been absolute madness, bro. Anyway, so Kenny goes at it. They of course are going. They're going at each other eventually, but then eventually, John Silver gets attacked and they start going at. Yo, Joe, I gotta say, I haven't been really a fan of the Dark Order or any. I'm not really one. I'm kind of indifferent to the Dark Order, but I gotta say, the Dark Order, they got some players like John Silver. For example, I never thought anything about John Silver, but yo, the man was going off in this match. Like, you had him when he was fighting up, I believe, against Matt. He like threw John Silver over the top onto the apron. Matt goes up over to like the second rope. But John manages to catch him, hits him with a kick, then does a cannonball off the apron onto the guy with the spray cans. I don't know what's in these. And then he hits an uppercut on, I think it was Kenny. And I think I was Kenny. Then runs all the way over to the other side of the ring and then gets kicked by Nick, bro. It was insane. And then you had this really crazy near fall where Kenny goes up for the one wing angel, but John Silver counters it, and bro, I thought it was a 3. My heart skipped a beat. I thought John Silver was gonna win. There was another point later on the match where John and the other member of the Dark Order, I'm slipping on the dude's name, but John does a jerk, where he like lifts him up in the air. John lifts him in the air. The other guy hits a fucking stunner. John transitions that into a German suplex. He then jumps over John into a pinning combination. I forget what the exact name is. It's that one where you like jump over your opponent, your back's on their legs, and you're kind of like holding them down. I forget, a jackknifer or like a thumb something. I forget the exact name of it, of that pinning combination. But he does that. 1, 2. I thought this was the 3, but Kenny kicks out. Like, bro, there was some really near falls in this match, man. It was actually saying you almost had Matt hitting buckshot lariat to Kenny Omega from the back. He goes from the front, but Matt's sitting there behind. It was Matt sitting there staring at him like when he lost to Kenny. I think he won when he beat Kenny Omega for the title, if I remember correctly. And this time Matt actually stops him. He gets him off though. He goes over, he jumps over the top rope, goes for the clothesline, but Kenny falls over. But then Nick comes out of nowhere and he hits the buckshot lariat onto Hangman Page. Fantastic spot. We eventually end the fight off with John Silver holding Kenny Omega up while Hangman goes up for the buckshot lariat, but Kenny manages to dodge out of the way and he hits John Silver with it. Kenny eventually gets the win, and they are the new Trios champion. This was a fantastic Trios match. Loved it. I don't think it was as good as the Will Ospreay one from Dynamite. Honestly, if you ask me, I felt that one should have been the one that was on the actual All Out card, so they could have like switched these places or something, if you ask me. But yeah, man, this match was fantastic, man. This match was fantastic, bro. Fantastic. Next up was Jade Cargill and Athena, Ember Moon. This match was great. I mean, it was only 5 minutes, probably less than that. I do think it's, but given the match, this card had like fucking 11 or 12, 15 matches on it. Some of these matches weren't going to be that long. If every match was 20 minutes, I'd be here till fucking 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying, bro? But for what it was a really good match. Jade Cargill came out as She-Hulk. For some reason, Excalibur can tell you the most useless and random information about a wrestler, but yet he's completely clueless about Marvel. Like, he says, like, oh, she's painted green because she's made of money. And I'm like, bro, she's clearly dressed as She-Hulk. The show is airing right now. Her fucking hero outfit has been shown off in the trailers. What are you on about, bro? It's so obviously She-Hulk. I mean, and I dug the look. She didn't paint her entire body green. It was more or less kind of like a little bit of green. Parts of her body were green. There were parts of it that were just her natural skin tone. And even then, it wasn't like a super deep green. You could still kind of see her natural skin tone underneath the green. But it looked good. I like the look. Ember, she looked phenomenal as always, man. The match, Ember went off in this match, man. Seriously, I would probably say this might be Jade Cargill's best match so far. I haven't watched them all, and I honestly don't remember most of them. But I would say, low-key, this is probably your best match. Maybe if you guys think there was one better, definitely leave in the comments. But I love this match. Ember, when ham to start this off, she was just going off with the offense against Ember. She was like going in with drop kicks and stuff, man. And after Jada managed to get out of the corner, she lifts Ember up, but Ember like basically just drops the knees down on her throat, just like going it down completely down to the ground. Then she goes up the top rope, hits the Eclipse. 1, 2, kick out, but also the baddies were also pulling out Ember at the same time, so it's kind of a little bit inferior. It's kind of already kick out, what have you. Anyway, then after they pull her out, Ember just looks at them, and bro, the look Ember were giving these women, you thought she was out for blood. She looked like she wanted to tear their fucking heads off, man. It was insane. This would make any man shit themselves. Seriously, bro. And then I believe it was a chick with the blue hair. I think her name was like Hogan something or whatever. She's like, no, it was her. So then Ember shotgun drop kicks that bitch into the fucking barricade, killing her. Then she looks over at the blue hair chick, and then she's like, no. And Ember starts chasing after her, but she ends up like running to like the other side of the ring, and is like pounding on the ring, trying to help Jade get it back up. Then the match continues on. Once again, Ember stays on the offense. Jade gets a couple moves in, but Jade also looked great in this match. Like, she looked fantastic in this match, man. She showed off a lot of intensity. Like, you had this one spot where Ember bounces off the second rope, and then Jada just hits her with a big boot before she gets her up for the Jaden to get the 1, 2, 3. This was a great match. I really enjoyed this one, man. Wish it was a little bit longer, but with how many matches were on the card, this was kind of expected for some of the matches to not be that super long. This one was definitely one of them, but for what it was, I thought it was a great match. And yeah, I was kind of hoping Ember would win this one, but no. Jade Cargill's streak continues, and honestly, if you ask me, Ember should be Toni Storm's first opponent for the new interim women's champion, if you ask me. But that's just me. Anyway, next up was Wardlow, FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. This match was fine. Honestly, I think it was a little too long. If there was one match I think probably could have been cut down to like maybe 5 minutes, I think this could have been one of them, if you ask me. I just was not invested into this match, and just wasn't into this match, man. Okay, but first thing I gotta ask. Okay, did I miss something on Dynamite? Because when the match started off, or at least when FTR made their entrance, Dax's daughter, 8-year-old daughter, Finley. Don't know why he named her Finley. Maybe is it a tribute to Fit Finley? Or is Dax Irish and I just do not know? Whatever the case may be on the name. For some reason, she was already out there. She kind of like walked out FTR, and she already has merch. Fight like an 8-year-old is what her shirt says. I'm sorry, when did this become a thing? Was this a segment on Dynamite that I missed when Dax's 8-year-old daughter was so over that she decided that it was necessary for her to get her own merch? When was this a thing? When did this become a thing? Was this something on Dark? Rampage? I do not recall this. Did I miss something, man? Regardless of such, the match starts off. You had Wardlow and Jay Lethal starting off. You had Wardlow go for his powerbomb, but then you had Motor City Machine Guns rushing in there to stop him, but they got to stop once Wardlow looked at him. And then from there, the match continues on. Honestly, I was barely paying attention. The match just did not interest me. Anyway, eventually Wardlow wins the match by hitting like 4 or 5 power bombs onto Jay Lethal to finally win the match. Then, after all that's said and done, Dax's daughter Philly once again makes her appearance back to the ring. She grabs the pendulum to do that's with Jay Lethal, snaps in front of him, and then pins him 1, 2, 3. Once again, I ask, did I miss something? Did I miss something about this 8-year-old girl getting introduced to television? Did I miss something of her getting her own merch? Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something, man. I feel like I am missing a huge piece of this puzzle with Dax's daughter. Regardless of such, a fine match. Really nothing to write home about. The Powerbomb spot was cool, though. I liked that. That was fun. That was fun to watch. Then we had Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. This was a good match. This one was also pretty short. Ricky Starks starts up strong. He rushes toward the ring, starts off fast and furious, but eventually Will Hobbs Will Hobbs ends up changing things around. He's basically takes the advantage for majority of this match. He like throws Ricky Starks right into the post that basically tears him in half, man. And then he wins the match by hitting a devastating spine breakers. No, Spine Buster. Spine Buster was the move that I don't know why I was called Spine Breaker. Spine Buster hits a devastating Spine Buster to finally win the match. Good match. It was a fun for what it was. I'm surprised Ricky didn't win, because given how Hobbs beat him and how Ricky has been losing a lot recently, I thought they were going to give the match to Ricky, but no, they ended up giving the W to Powerhouse Hobbs. Cool. But yeah, good match all around, fun. Then, of course, next up was a tag match between Swerve and Orgel and my boys from NXT, Isaiah Swerve Scott or Swerve Strickland now, and of course the limitless Keith Lee, and of course against the Acclaim, which I don't know if I really talk much about the Acclaim in my videos, but I do enjoy the Acclaim. I do like their little rap promos they do at the start of all their matches. But I wouldn't say I'm some hardcore fan of the Acclaim, but I do enjoy the Acclaim. I gotta say, man, were they over like legit. Besides obviously Punk, because this is his hometown, and MJF, the Acclaim was the most over team, the most over thing on this entire show. Everybody in Chicago on this night, for some reason, wanted the Acclaim to come out the victors. So much so, and that they were so over with the crowd that Swerve and Keith Lee would end up having to play heel for this match, and they did that really good, having to make that audible. JD mentioned that wondering if Tony Khan should have called an audible because, as you guys know, Swerve and Keith Lee retained the tag titles. If they should have called an audible and give the titles to the Acclaim, was it a missed opportunity? And do I think they should switch the titles? Personally, while I'm happy Keith and Lee did keep the titles, because you guys know how much I love those two, especially from you guys remember my reviews from TakeOver when they were both still in NXT. I fucking love these two. I love them I've been really digging them in AEW, and yeah, man. But I think the Acclaim should have won the match, man. I think they should have struck with the iron was hot and called an audible and gave it to the Acclaim, because they were over. So over, in fact, that the chance of "Scissor Me Daddy," oh, scissor me daddy, oh, scissor me daddy, was being chanted throughout the entire match. I was in tears later into the crowd saying, "Oh, scissor me daddy, oh, scissor me daddy," which are three words I never thought I would ever hear at a wrestling show, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let's talk about the actual match. This match, like I think I mentioned this earlier, was fucking fantastic. This was an excellent tag match, and the Acclaim really showed off just how good they are. So anyway, we started the match off with Swerve versus with Anthony. They were going at they were going to now the main story with this match was that how Anthony's body keeps failing Matt Caster because he just keeps breaking down, and that ended up was the main story for this match. As later on in the match, Anthony's knee started to give him some problems. This is what they started to do, and of course, after they started being a little bit injured, they of course started attacking the knee, doing some submission holds, other moves. Actually, like I remember there was this one move. I think this is when Isaiah had him in in a submission hold, and then Max like came out of nowhere and like hit Isaiah in like the back of the head. But the way he fell, he was really like stretched out his knee. It looked kind of nasty when they showed the instant replay of it, and I was like, oh, did that just injure it further? That was the whole thing going on. Of course, you had "Scissor Me Daddy" chant throughout the freaking match, and then actually, funny enough, during the first one, the match started off with them doing "Oh, bask in His glory." Oh, bask in His glory. They did Keeley, but then that transformed into "Oh, scissor me, daddy." And then after they did it for 5 times, the crowd just starts cheering themselves or whatever once they finally they just kind of realized what just happened, man. And of course that stuck around. They kept doing it. There were other chants of "You can't scissor," or then Isaiah does the scissoring thing, man. That was pretty funny. A lot of other crazy spots, like you had like you obviously probably the craziest spot of the night was when Matt Caster got possessed by John Cena, and by some miracle, by some act of God, he manages to lift Keith Lee, who you guys remember is I think he's like what, 300 some odd pounds this man weighs. He manages to, by the wrestling gods, lift this man up and hits an AA on him. I'm like, bro, did my man just get possessed by John Cena? I know the man loves his rapping, but I didn't know he had John Cena's secret strength too. You know what I'm saying? Really, that spot was absolutely insane, bro. Absolutely insane. Insane, man. Insane. There was obviously you also then, like, right after that, the Acclaim start going after Keith Lee. Max hits the mic drop. 1, 2, no, near fall, man. Oh my God, there were so many near falls in this match, man. Seriously, this match was just absolutely fantastic. You had Keith Lee, of course, staring down Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn would get on the apron. They would start arguing with him. You had Anthony get up, like when his knee was giving trouble, when he like just like jumps back up and is screaming at Keith Lee and slapping his knee. Absolutely madness, man. But of course, but of course Keith and Swerve hit their finishers for the 1, 2, 3. Now the interesting thing about the finish was, if you were paying attention in the background, they like Billy Gunn got so different that he actually like that he slid underneath the bottom rope and was obviously trying to break the pin, but of course he was too late. But the one thing I thought was kind of weird with this is because let's say Billy Gunn did manage to make it in time to break the pin, wouldn't that have just ended the match anyways, a DQ, because that's outside interference? So I mean, I get he was probably just like, oh shit, I gotta save the match, I'll just give it to myself. That he probably wasn't thinking clearly and think like, oh wait, this will end in a DQ anyway. This will end the match regardless. So yeah, it was interesting that happened, but at the same time, I'm like, what was Billy Gunn thinking? Like, wouldn't the match have ended in a DQ if that was the case, and he did end up making it? But whatever. Anyway, next up we had was the women's match, which for this one I was really rooting for Hikaru to win this one. You guys know how much I love Hikaru or Toni Storm. Those were my two picks for this match. I was hoping that would end up winning the match, but thankfully Toni Storm would end up winning the match. But bro, I gotta say, I fucking loved Hikaru's outfit. She came out dressed up as Doctor Strange, man. It looked absolutely incredible, man. Seriously, fantastic job, man. Hikaru looked awesome, man. Anyway, on to the actual match. So most of this match was basically just Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker teaming up against Hikaru and Toni Storm. That was the main thing that going on in the match, and that's what basically what a lot of it was. Both these two women basically teaming up to beat up the other two. That was most of it. What that was, Hikaru and Toni would team up to beat on Britt, or Britt and Jamie would work together to take care of Hikaru. Like, I remember, like, Jamie would pick up Hikaru and, like, throw her all the way over to the top of the apron, and Britt just, like, threw her kendo stick at her. Eventually, she kind of got out of the match while kicking and screaming, but they had to bring her back. But then when Hikaru came back, she came back with, like, 2 kendo sticks and just started wailing on Britt and Jamie. This got a huge pop out of me, and I was kind of hoping that this was like, okay, Britt, Hikaru's going to win. She's going to become the 2-time champion or whatever. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Like I said, Toni ended up winning the match, which I'm also glad for. I know you guys know I enjoy some Toni Storm, so glad to see that she's finally gotten the belt. Like I said, would have preferred Hikaru, but hey, I'll take Toni's side. Anybody that isn't Britt Baker, because yeah, there's been some crazy shit going on with her too. I swear to God, bro. So much madness in these last couple of weeks with AEW, bro. You got the shit with Pop. Then you got the beef between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, bro. It's fucking insane, bro. It's fucking madness. Anyway. So you had that event, eventually Jamie Hayter would go and try and pin, I believe it was Toni Storm, and to win the match. But then I think Britt actually broke up the pin, or Jamie kicked out, or Toni kicked out. Either way, Britt saw this and she felt betrayed. Like, what are you doing? This was my match. I think Britt actually did pull out pull her off or pull out the referee or something to break the pin. And she was like, and then like Britt was like, no, and like, so it obviously seems like they're gonna be playing maybe Jamie leaving the group, becoming her own singles competitor. So you have that, but eventually Tony would win the match by hitting the DDT on both Britt and Jamie to get the 1, 2, 3 and become the new AEW interim women's champion. Great match, really enjoyed this one. Had a lot of fun, a lot of great spots, good match. Next up, we had Christian versus Jungle Boy. First thing I want to say, Christian is a main event guy. I tweeted this I'm pretty sure I tweeted this like right when the match started or after the match. I tweeted that because Christian has been doing some of the best work he's done, the best work he has since 2011 with his feud with Randy Orton. It is crazy how Christian has proven he is a main event guy across 2 goddamn decades. The 2010s are like in 2011 with the feud with Randy Orton and this one. Like, it's kind of crazy. Christian does not get the respect he deserves, man. Like, you ask most, and at least this is what I get from it. Maybe I'm wrong and more people do see the same value in Christian that I do. But people low-key do not give Christian as much credit as he deserves. Like, you look at most people, and you ask about Christian, most of them think of him as only as like a mid-carder or kind of like second fiddle to Edge. Like, Edge was the bigger star of the group. He was the one that was going to do everything, and all that shit. Which, to be fair, in a sense, yes, I would say between them, yes, Edge is the better star. I think Edge is probably, in terms of like main eventness, yes, Edge is more of a main eventer than Christian is. But Christian is still very much a main event guy. He proved that in 2011 with his feud with Randy Orton when he won the World Heavyweight Championship, and he's proved that again with his feud with Jungle Boy. This man has been fucking killing it. Like, and yo, I don't know if any of y'all noticed this, but I'm noticing Christian's low-key turning a little rated R recently in this match. And seriously, Christian low-key is Christian. You can tell he's taking a lot from Edge's heel gimmicks for his own heel turn. Like, you can see, like, we know how close those two are. It's not no secret that Christian's probably taking little bits of what made Edge's heel work so good, and he's probably bringing that and adapting it to his own. You can see the similarities, bro. Like, this is no secret, especially tonight, man. Especially tonight. Seriously, man. But like, his promos have been amazing. We saw some of the little promo packages where he says, like, I never wanted to be your father. I never wanted to be your father figure. You have a father, but your father's dead. I also love Christian's fashion sense, by the way. The man has excellent taste in clothing. He has way better fashion sense than I can. He rocks those fucking turtlenecks, man. He fucking rocks the turtleneck. You had that one, of course. You had another banger who was like, Matt, you're starting to make your brother sound like the sober one. Christian, man, he's just been going up. And then, of course, you have him going after his Jungle Boy's mom and sister, bro. But then... oh my God, like I said, bro, Christian is a main event guy, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because he is. He is a main event guy, just like Edge. He might not be as big as Edge or as much of a main event guy as Edge is, but Jesus Christ, Christian is a main event guy in his own right, man. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Christian is fucking awesome, and I love him. Anyway, he gets into the match. He gets into the ring wearing a shirt that said, worked everyone. If you guys remember, when he first came to AEW, his gimmick or his catchphrase was, outwork everyone. Now it's just working everyone, which Tony Khan might be doing to us all right now with Punk. We don't know. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Madness, man. Madness this week. Madness this weekend has been, man. But anyway, this shirt is fucking awesome. Worked everyone. I love it. So Christian makes his in the ring. He then meets up with Jungle Boy, wife and sister. He says some stuff, but then his mom slaps the taste out of his mouth. And then Jungle Boy makes his entrance. He does his thing. But then out of nowhere, Luchasaurus comes in there and attacks Jungle Boy. He like choke slams him onto the railing and just carries him back into the ring. Obviously, we know that him betraying Christian and going back with Jungle Boy was all a ruse, and he's always been with Christian since the beginning, man. This was insane. So then, as soon as after Jungle Boy gets back and about, this match was one of my favorites of the night, man. This match was brilliant. Excellent, man. I love this match. It might have only been like, a minute or so, but oh my God, it was amazing. We'll probably get the actual the actual like a feud ender type blow off match. Probably like a Grand Slam or something, which is when Jungle Boy will finally get his victory over Christian, probably. But this match up. So once Jungle Boy finally makes it back up to his feet, and the bell rings, Christian instantly spears the shit out of him, bro. Like, you thought he got speared by Edge, man. It's almost like Christian was possessed by Edge this night. He almost was, bro. And then after that, 1, 2, kick out. I thought that was a 3. I thought they were going to end this match in like 10 seconds, bro. And I wouldn't have complained. But then Christian goes in there, hits the kill switch while like blowing a kiss to Jungle Boy's mom. Bro, yo, I swear to God, man, Christian is low-key turning into the radar superstar before our very eyes, man, and it's fucking awesome. I'm here for it, bro. He hits the kill switch and then gets the 1, 2, 3, man. This match was absolutely fucking incredible, man, and I love Christian's shirt. Worked everyone. I love that shirt. Anyway, this match was awesome. Next was Bryan and Chris Jericho. This was easily the second best match on the card, obviously behind the main event. This match was awesome, very technical, and it was just amazing, man. I just loved it. You guys know how much I love Bryan. You guys know I love Y2J. So I was hyped for this match as soon as it was announced, man. I loved it. And I liked how Jordan Garcia was integrating the match as well, where we saw him watching the match out backstage, and of course he would have a little conversation with Chris Jericho after the match, that old thing. But yeah, the match itself was awesome. One thing that was kind of a running thing was just Bryan no-selling chops from Chris, where he was just kind of like brush it off, man. That one was pretty cool. There was a lot of really cool spots where where Bryan does that, like, that combat thing he does where he goes into one of the corners and uses the turnbuckles as leverage to do a backflip over his opponent, and then like dodges the clothesline before he like hits a jumping clothesline or whatever. Well, he did that, but instead this time Chris caught him with a code breaker. You had Chris Jericho on the top rope. Bryan mets him up there. He goes for her Karana, but Chris counters it, brings him down, and transitions it into the walls of Jericho. You had Bryan transitioning moves into the label lock. That was really cool. Him flipping Chris Jericho all around to make sure when he started to get near the ropes. You had Chris locking the lion tamer, and Bryan managed to get out of that one. A lot of crazy moves, man. There was so much amazing wrestling in this match. You guys know I'm not very much into like the whole technical thing. I'm like someone that doesn't enjoy super technical wrestling, but when it's Bryan and Y2J, I'm all for it. Maybe you can call me biased because Bryan is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and I will admit that, man, but this match was awesome. And I had so much fun watching this match and just watching these technical masters just go at each other and just show off their wizardry. Seriously, fantastic. Anyway, the match ended with Bryan locking Chris Jericho in a hole. Chris manages to counter it. They start rushing towards one of the corners. Aubrey almost get hit, but Chris takes his opportunity to give Bryan a low blow to, of course, go into the Judas effect to get the 1, 2, 3. After this, Jordan Garcia, they would meet with Chris Jericho backstage. He said, like, hey, I told you guys you could win without cheating, but you cheated. That's why I wasn't there. Chris Jericho then says, okay, but you'll have the Wheeler Yuta for some Ring of Honor championship. I forget which one it was called, the Pure Championship. I forget what it's called. And you're going to be on your own. And he's like, oh, but I need you for most words. Like, you're going to be on your own. You weren't there for me. I'm not going to be for you. You'll win the match. So fuck off. He had that whole thing, man. Which that's going to be interesting when we see that on Dynamite. Next up was the House of Black versus Miro, Sting, and Darby. This match was also pretty good. It was fine. It was enjoyable. Nothing too crazy with this one match. I did enjoy it, though. One thing that I found kind of interesting with this match was that Miro, at the start of it, was refusing to tagging anybody. Like, Darby would be stretching his arm out there, like, tag me in, but Miro would always never go for it, for whatever reason. Don't know what that was about. But eventually, Darby managed to get in, like, the blind tag in there, and of course, the match is on the way. Sting got in there. He did some crazy stuff. And also, I almost forgot to mention, Chris Jericho hit the fucking tombstone piles where like he's fucking Undertaker. So that was interesting to see. But anyway, back to the house play. They went at it. Darby, of course, is getting abused, like always, man, getting thrown into the barricade and shit, man. He does like a fucking coffin drop he does and everything, man. But eventually the match would end with Malachi Black going for the black mask, but Sting would get him with the Miz, and of course would eventually win the match. They're pinning Malachi. Now, you guys know that there's been a lot of stuff going on with Malachi Black that he wants out. He isn't happy with the creative of him and the House of Black, and that he wants his release. Well, I'm sure this definitely isn't helping matters. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And apparently after the show, Malachi did like bow to the crowd as if it was like going to be like a send off for him. Who knows? Maybe he will get released and he'll come back to AEW as Aleister Black, and maybe he'll continue his feud with Cody or something, or whatever the fuck happens. Maybe he'll stay with AEW and continue on with the House of Black. Hopefully now with better creative. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with Malachi Black. Yeah, this was a good match. And finally, we have the main event. Punk Mox. Now, whatever you think of Punk, especially now with what happened at the scrum, whether we find out that this has all been one massive work, and we're going to be having this major feud with the Punk and the Elite that's going to end in fucking blood and guts or something, whatever the fuck, or if this is all a shoot and Punk really did just go off randomly and Tony Khan just sat there. Regardless of such, Punk is the best in the world. There is no denying that, and this match was no different. This match was fucking amazing. Now, I wasn't too fond of what happened at Dynamite a couple weeks ago, where they did the interim championship match, ended it in like 3 minutes, Punk lost the title. Honestly, I thought they did Punk a little dirty by ending it so quickly, but then, of course, there was other controversies with him and Hangman, so maybe I was just Tony punishing him or whatever the fuck, or like, yeah, this is all the work for Tony for Punk to turn heel or something. Whatever this whole situation, this whole mess turns into, is it a work, is it a shoot, whatever the fuck. That is not important right now. Anyway, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I kind of thought it was kind of stupid, especially now that we know that they were just going to put the belt right back on Punk. It kind of feels like this whole thing was kind of pointless. That last match was kind of pointless. But regardless of such, man, they delivered, and this was a phenomenal match, man. Punk came out, of course. He had a huge reaction, man. He had a huge reaction, man. He came out rocking the pants this time rather than the trunks, which I was a little disappointed by. I kind of hope he was kind of just sticks to the trunks, man, because I just think he looks better in the trunks rather than the pants. But that's just me, man. That just could be. That's what I'm just used to, man. But anyway. Punk and Mox went at it fast and furious, man. They were going at it. Well, actually, no. Never mind. Now, what happened was I'm getting lost here. But what happened was Punk leans forward with like the injured foot. He like basically giving it to Mox, like, hey, take it, man, take it. And Mox just gives him the finger and like sits cross-legged, man. And then we're off to the races, man. They go at it. They eventually go out into the outside and like start fighting within the crowd. Mox like Irish whips Punk into the steel steps and in the post. This eventually causes him to bleed. Well, actually, early on in the match, Punk actually hits a GTS. And I honestly thought they were going to pull this shit again with like the match ending in like 3 minutes, but this time with Punk winning it. Because I thought it was like, yo, are they actually going to change it? But nah, Moxley ended up kicking out. Anyway, so as I was saying, they go out to the outside of the fight. Punk eventually starts bleeding, which looked fantastic, man. But then this ended up becoming a target for Mox, where he literally starts, like throughout the rest of the match, he starts biting at his skull and biting on his head. He straight up has some of his blood on his hand, starts licking it. Which I don't even know how that's even remotely sanitary, but whatever. Especially in these times. But you have that, man. These two kept going at it. You have Mox locking Punk into the figure 4, attacking the knee. And then actually, when he locks in the figure 4, he gives the finger to Punk. But then Punk spits in his face and gives him the finger, man. That was fucking awesome, bro. That was fucking awesome. Eventually, they just keep wailing on each other, going after each other. Like Mox keeps attacking the leg and like trying to keep him down when he like locks him in a sleeper hold and transitions into a bulldog. It was crazy. But then we eventually get to the end of the match. I'm not doing this match justice, but yeah. We eventually reach the end of the match where Punk manages to hit the GTS again, and Moxley legit just basically falls right on top of him. He just falls right on top of his shoulders, and the visual of that looked fucking incredible, man. And Punk with the crowd firmly behind Punk, because of course they are. Punk grabs him, picks him back up, hits a third GTS for the 1, 2, 3. And then Punk is your new champion. I am, of course, over the moon, happy to see Punk is once again champion, and ready to see what Tony has in store. Of course, as you guys know, MJF would make his appearance in an excellent promo, quoting one of Punk's Ring of Honor promos about the devil, which was quite interesting. And then of course, MJF comes out, does the whole belt motion thing and leaves. And then of course, there was the scrum, which I already talked about earlier on in the review. Anyway, guys, that is where the show ends. Or just get started if you want to count the fucking scrum, but whatever. Anyway, guys, this review's gone on long enough. It is almost 3 in the goddamn morning right now, since we're done recording this. Anyway, guys, overall, my final verdict for All Out is going to be, once again, a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. Phenomenal show. Looking forward to Dynamite this week, because it's certainly going to be interesting with the fucking scrum. And of course, just went down the show. We'll find out then. Work, shoot, whatever the fuck it is. We'll find out then, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, guys, that's where this video off. As always, leave your thoughts down in the comments, guys. What you thought of the show? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think this is all a work with the scrum? Do you think Punk is shooting and that he'll end up, and that he is indeed a cancer to the locker room and all that? Leave it all down below, guys. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm getting this video off. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time. You